Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and if you couldn't tell, I can actually record at a normal volume. I'm freshly moved into my place, so recording should be a bit easier from here on out. This is the latest in my HBO Max Pass series, where I review films not only released in theaters, but exclusively through HBO Max on the very same day. If you happen to miss my last video where I reviewed Godzilla vs. Kong, don't worry, I'll leave a link to that video in the description below so you can check that out. Now, while I usually do reviews in or around 90 seconds, today I'm going to have to rule that out because there's no way I can fit everything I want to talk about in that time frame, but I'll do my best to keep it as condensed as possible. There's just quite a bit I want to talk about. Now, with Mortal Kombat, I eventually did watch both of the older films from the 90s, and while the first film was okay, and Annihilation was Annihilation, it's not great, I was never a huge Mortal Kombat person at all. Plus, with it being mostly a popular video game series, I did have some slight concern because, let's be honest, video game adaptations into film is often more than not pretty bad. There hasn't really been all that impressive movies that have come from a video game sense of the plot. So I wanted to do a little bit of research before watching this just to see if there was any useful information, just how much they could actually develop a plot for Mortal Kombat. And to my genuine surprise, I got to see how much lore there actually was between the characters and Earth realms and Nether realms and Outworlds. There's a ton of stuff to learn about, which is awesome. I love that there is so much to take in about Mortal Kombat. But before I get into my concerns with how that was handled in this film, let's talk about some of the things that I liked first. So first and foremost, Jax and Kano easily carried this movie in every scene that they had. Kano's banter and one-liners made this feel like this movie wasn't taking itself so seriously and added a ton of comedic scenes throughout. Jax, I liked his development, and again, he had some really great lines that landed. Just there was a lot of moments when those two were on screen that I genuinely was happy and enjoying the film. I guess that's kind of like a bleak message towards going to the bad things, but I'll get there in a second. Scorpion and Sub-Zero, I mean, without a doubt, they're the most badass characters. I really don't think I need to give any explanation about that. Sub-Zero is always bringing in this horror element to each scene, which I really enjoyed. There's like slowly freezing windows and dimly lit rooms, and he's got a super creepy score to go along with it. And speaking of that score, it was really done well throughout. I enjoyed it quite a bit, actually, especially getting to hear the Mortal Kombat theme. That was pretty great. The first 10 minutes are beautiful, and it's really well done, really well shot. The choreography is great. The video effects and graphics are really impressive, and it gives some backstory to the conflict between Japan and China, more specifically with Kuai Lang and Hanzo Hasashi, who are or do eventually become Sub-Zero and Scorpion. I thought it was a great first step to develop the plot. Even the last 10 minutes were pretty great and have it situated for an exciting future for the franchise. But that comes to the negative, and it's pretty much everything in between those two 10-minute spans at the beginning and at the end. Let's get right to the first concern that I have. I really don't like this character Cole Young that is brought in. Apparently he is not a character at all in Mortal Kombat before, and they created this character for the film. And he's played by Louis Tan, and his character, if I'm being completely honest, is just kind of pointless. He's pointless until it becomes relevant that they need him, I guess is the best way to put it. He just kind of has like a convenient situation happen about 3/4 of the way through the film, and it just kind of felt like tossed in to like have another guy. And I guess if like you want to introduce characters, that's fine, but to really focus the plot around this person, it just kind of was a swing and a miss for me. Adding on to that, I really didn't find his wife Allison, who was played by Laura Brent, and Sonya Blade, who he meets in the film, which is played by Jessica McNamee, they weren't very intriguing either. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was kind of down to like Dragon Ball Evolution levels of acting. not quite that bad, but it was around there. There's a couple scenes where I was like, wow, that's definitely cheesy. Anyway, so the movie's rated R, so obviously Mortal Kombat fans want to be able to see the blood and gore, and while there's quite a bit of it when the fatalities are shown, the fighting sequences leading up to those fatalities are pretty clean. It's PG-13, and the choreography is not great. I'll just put it that way. Think like Star Wars, the prequels with lightsaber fights, and it looks like they're dancing from time to time. There's some great choreography at points, don't get me wrong. Like I said, the first 10 minutes, and then there's a situation with Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I don't want to give anything away, but there's pretty incredible choreography in those parts, but in between, there is a lot of, it just seems like dancing and insane flips, and I get it, it's Mortal Kombat, but even for this kind of movie, when they've tried to set it up to be serious, it's just kind of like way out of left field at some points. So what was disappointing was, again, the first and last 10 minutes made this to be such a legitimate and serious and well-structured film. And I was excited because it set a believable foundation, but everything in between those points just lacked that serious and legitimate feel. The story changes about halfway through. If you're familiar with Mortal Kombat, there's rules to the tournament that have to be followed, and those rules are just kind of thrown out the window because why the fuck not? It's a Mortal Kombat movie, and we want shit to happen this way, so we're gonna do it. And to the point where they even acknowledge it in the film. They word for word say, that's not part of the rules, and a character is like, fuck the rules. It's basically how it goes. So I just have a hard time wanting to stick with what they're trying to do when they're changing all these things and in introducing things that really have nothing to do with the lore behind Mortal Kombat. So this to me just continues this ongoing trend of video games attempting to get into films, and it's just a massive struggle with the plot line. And you know, it's frustrating, and it's a huge problem because, as I mentioned, Mortal Kombat has tons of lore, like way more than anything I've seen as far as a video game is concerned. So to have so much lacking in character development and the plot and just throwing the rules out, it's just such an odd and poor choice. I don't get it. You know, maybe people who want to just watch it for the fatalities and the blood and gore, which they get it periodically, not all the way throughout. If they're there just for that and they don't care about anything, sure, you're gonna have a great time. It's a popcorn flick, just like Godzilla vs. Kong. Like, there's a lot of just unnecessary filler crap, and if that's what you're gonna watch it for, is the fighting, by all means enjoy that. But you can't implement two scenarios that try to build a serious, concrete plot and make you want to believe that this is a serious film, and then just kind of like fill in the rest with like Dragon Ball Evolution. It's really crazy to me. So with that being said, I'm going to stop my little ramble here, and I'm going to give Mortal Kombat a C. Well, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you saw Mortal Kombat, what are your thoughts? I've really just heard a lot of mixed reviews and opinions about it, and like I said, maybe if people are into it for the fights, I get it, but other than that, it felt kind of flat. It really didn't do anything for me when there's a lot of stuff that they could be doing with all the lore that is available for it. Anyways, leave a comment below, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Be sure to follow me over on Twitter at itsrickus, where I post anything from my normal day life to being the first place I go when posting links to new videos as well as video updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.